Good morning, friends. Good morning, audience, friends and audience. So today I'm going to make an addendum or an attachment that is pretty relevant to the 2001 Snake Odyssey. This here is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Uh, it shares it shares that 2001 Snake Odyssey movie in a couple of things I want to bring to your attention. So first of all, I guess like Rabbi Mel Gibson, yeah, Rabbi, is in fact, first I guessed it was Moses, but no, I didn't. Later in the movie you would find out that he's not Moses. Uh, he is come to tell the Jews that the Mashiach or Messiah is not coming, is what he's saying, right? Because now they live in the desert among the Arabs and that they need to get out of this predicament and waiting, endless waiting, you know. And in the movie, if you take a close look at his eyes, you would see that one is as if he's wearing a contact lenses, colored contact lenses, similar to what's his name, Marilyn Manson, right? You know, the one who wears one black eye and one white, blue eye, or something of the sort, right? To indicate that he's like a devil son boy. So you would see that in the movie, at one point, if freeze the picture or freeze the frame and then look, and then you would see that he's wearing contact lenses similar to Marilyn Manson, which means he's neither Moses nor the Mashiach. So who is he? He's come to liberate supposedly the Jews from the waiting and from the lethargic state of affairs, having to live in the desert on a small pond of water or being enslaved by the Arabs, and so on. Folks, and then that's a lie. I'll show you in the movie. Shouldn't take too long. What I'm going to do is like show you only the relevant scenes and then leave it alone. So I tried to guess, and I figured that passively or almost sure that maybe they don't know that Rabbi Fred Nietzsche is really the Mel Gibson here. Now Mel Gibson, is not right about us Arabs, but we're here just like we are in the 2001 Snake Odyssey. So let's continue. I'm gonna freeze this and then go to the scenes that I need to look at. So here's Rabbi Mel Gibson dressed like an Arab, right? Yeah, he's dressed like an Arab. Or all Arabs used to dress like that, just similar to people in Tuareg and Afghanistan as well. And all Jews in Arabia dressed like that as well. And their names, and the Jews of Arabia are not exactly supposedly that of Sarah and Jacob, right? They are part of those ancient Arabs. Somebody left something there. So Bartertown, I think they're talking about either the Middle East or old world here. All kind of people, bartering, no law or lawless land, and and money and no ethics, just anything goes, right? This could be if they're talking about nuclear holocaust and so on and so forth. This could be like after, according to their belief, that this could be after the fall from heaven. Like the fight in, that song, the sky was bruised, and then, all these, I don't know, all these thoughts and notions and whims and... All right, we'll freeze it. So who's Tina Turner, a black woman? Like I told you before, every time you see something like that in such a movie, a black woman or a black man, it denotes like evil devils, right? That's what they mean by it. They try to impress, or the hidden concealed meaning of it, or the hint of it is that that's a devil, right? Now, I don't know. I think when we talk about, Arabs, when we mention Satan, we say he, right? But somehow, being in this country for 43 years, I overheard or something like that, that really it's not a he, it's a she, right? So I think that's who it is now. So we see three different subjects now. We see Tina, right? The she, Satan, right? And then we see the one-eyed monster, Rabbi Mel Gibson, right? And that may be him, because those people, Rabbi and one-eyed monster, I somehow deduced on my own and based on a lot of information that Judaism is really Masonry. That's what I deduced, and that them are not exactly humans, like I, for example. Okay, we'll freeze again. Okay, now my Arabs come into the picture. I am an Arab, right? Partially, but that's where I belong. Really. I am an Arab American. Okay, so that's where they come in, and here I'm gonna play the whole scene here, and then move to the other scene, right? Where that's the important stuff is here and elsewhere, and that joins, if you will, with the 2001 Snake Odyssey. As you can see, pigs and pigs here, just similar to Space Odyssey. Pigs does not really mean energy. Here it means money and stuff like that, because you may not get it straightforward, but pigs here, they depict humans as pigs and as monkeys and other things as well. And they harvest from them. Who is that? Coming up. Just give him 1 minute. Okay, so here, if you look closely, you won't see it because it's a very quick moment, very fleeting moment. Right here, between these two men, right there, that figure here is really a Muslim woman, an Arab woman. She's dressed with head veil or hijab, and then, she's a Muslim woman, right? And what she is doing is she has a ledger. She is recording income, right? And then she disappears. I'm gonna play it again. So there's that car or whatever it is which they seized from Mel Gibson, right? Rabbi Mel Gibson. And then there's that woman, right? She's a Muslim woman. It's very obvious.
What oil natural gas? Pigs. You mean pigs sometimes?
Pigs, So we Arabs, when we were in power in this world, we were collecting money like ransoms and stuff like that, really, from pigs, or what Gibson considers as pigs, right? Really, Gibson? Rabbi Gibson?
Bullshit. Pig shit. Pig shit. The motors, the vehicles, all run by a high-powered gas called methane. Methane comes from pig shit.
Have a look. Tell me what you see.
I see a pig dragging a little guy piggyback.
So,
Master Blaster.
Master Blaster.
They even share.
I used to call him Blaster with a P.
The little one is called Master.
Little one. Little one.
He runs underworld.
Underworld.
The other one is the muscle. Bigger.
So here again, you will witness that Muslim woman that were wearing hijab and all. See?
The other one is Blaster. He is
she's at his service. She's a Muslim woman wearing hijab, and just Muslim woman, right? There, you see it again.
Together they can be very powerful.
There she is still again. There she is, right there.
They are also arrogant.
Oh, they're arrogant. I think Rabbi Gibson or Mel Gibson, like Mel more like Rabbi Mel of what's that Mel, that cook and his three waitresses. I forgot that show. It was funny. So he mistakes pride for arrogance. He calls it arrogance.
We want to keep the brain, dump the body. Indeed.
Why does he want to keep the brain? Dump the body. Brain. Now, this is crucial here. This is a key skeleton key for this movie. It's pretty much close to or in the same runs along the same channel or within the same channel as that of 2001: Space Odyssey. Brain.
He can beat most men with his breath.
I want to get a closer look at him after we get in there.
It's a factory, it's an asshole.
I don't know anything about midnight.
You can shovel shit, can't you?
Made any lactose for you?
Oh, there comes Master.
Right. We got a real problem. 12 pounds of dynamite. What's in the plan?
Rotten! You expert! Dishonest!
That'd be nice.
Yeah, he's like, according to Rabbi Gibson's imaginations, he's got foul mouth, and, arrogant, and he's very like midget. Midget.
Connected to the switch, which I can't find, which is connected to the.
There's plenty of details here. I can comment on this like I commented on 2001: Space Odyssey. It doesn't have as much symbolism and numerology and hints and undercurrent and so on as that one. That one, almost nothing in the 2001 Snake Odyssey is random or pick chance. This is not the same.
You order me?
Ooh, for God's sake, what now?
Uh-oh. Darn. Woman. Now she's in trouble.
4, 3, 2. For God's sake, what now? Ooh, Ron, water town? Damn it, I told you no more embargoes.
So embargoes. Here what they're talking about, I think, I don't know, is the 1973 embargo. Oil embargo by the Arabs. I heard a lot about this and so on, but upon researching and what I remembered from back then, I was very young, 11 years old, is that there was really no embargo, oil embargo. From what I heard, that the output was reduced like by 5%, but it was a conspiracy that with that very small percentage cut, 5%, now it was prime time to make money, and the oil companies here and the cabal of the Wall Street and whatnot, they accused the Arabs. Of course, they made you hate the Arabs for embargo, and they collected like billions. And then now it was prime time for Americans to hate Arabs, right? Because they're the problem of the gas. They're not the problem of the gas, folks. There was no embargo. It was literally reduction in by 5% only, and it was, like I said, an opportunity for the Mel Gibsons, to build that or intensify or build that hatred among Westerners towards the Arabs. Now I want to tell you something about the oil and the Arabs. The rulers of the Gulf are not really Arabs, nor are they Muslims. And then if you look closely at the people whom they call Saudis or whoever they are in the peninsula where the oil is, or in Iraq or in Syria, ever since the discovery of oil, like in the last century, I think, maybe, I don't know, they benefited nothing from it. They're poor. Some of them, like even in Saudi, you'd think they're rich. No, they're not. Some of them sell food on the sidewalk just to make ends meet, right? I lived there for a couple of years, or 3 years, I think, in early 90s. Oh, I can clearly see Saudis are no different from Syrians or Egyptians or anybody else. They have absolutely nothing to do with the oil. The oil is basically owned by a Jewish family called the Saudis, right? And the Zayids and so on. And if there was a real embargo, which was not, then it was them who did that embargo, not us, the Arabs. But we'll continue. This may be a little bit old. He's mixing. There's no timeline concept in this movie. There is a roughly speaking, there is a rough timeline, but not like exact timeline or pretty close to events like the 2001 Snake Odyssey.
More blaster. Who run Barter Town? Barter Town. You know who. Say. Master.
So what he's saying here is this guy is in the rule of the world, right? And utilizing pigs, and those humans who work there are not exactly other humans. Maybe they're like Mel Gibson, right?
Wow. Master Blaster.
She has ego. She doesn't want to say. There's like a war of egos here.
What? Master Louder. Master Blaster runs Bartown. Lift embargo.
Let me freeze it. I want to get to the. Okay, so as you can see, he's going to say who he is now. How do I know this man is the Arab, right? The Arabs, when they run the world, for example, and now it's run by Jews, right? Supposedly. Because of two things. Number one, everything is indicating that he is. Two, he says exactly what he is.
Not shit. Energy. No town. Big king.
So he says, be King Arab, right? Now, in the back end, something just passed by in the back end. Let me illustrate that to you. Give me a second. So in the back end, on the ceiling, you saw something like this, right? I'm going to give you a clue to what that is. In the back end, hidden in the ceiling. So that exists almost everywhere, is what they're trying to say here. So if you see circles like stacked together on a certain pattern, right? But not exactly, at the same axis, on the same axis, right? If you see them like this, then what you need to do is fill out the gaps here. Do you see it? That here, the pattern actually produces something like this. Do you see it? Okay. So now, that was in fact, just when he emerged, it was up in the ceiling. Anyways, maybe a coincidence, but now I know he's talking about Arabs here because they're in charge of the world back then, right? Me, King Arab. So he said, this is not a metaphor. This is real. That's whom Rabbi Mel Gibson is talking about. All right, we'll continue.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it and then move to the next scene because, like I said, I can comment on this for hours and hours, but I'm interested in a couple of things here. So it's worth making a note here that this figure here, like the hunchback, the magician, with the staff, maybe that's Moses. I don't know. Every time I see a guy with a staff, I think they're Moses. Right? And he's wearing that Masonic thing here, right? The angle and the compass, and then the G in the middle, and then that's your brimmed hat. False God, my. I hate Dr. Dre. He gave me that syndrome, man, when I was in the hood, when I worked in the hood when I was young. But what he's saying is that this is like the sidekick or serf or dog of Tina Turner, who is the female deity. Remember Stairway to Heaven? The lady we all know? And she's buying a highway to heavens, right? Something like this. So that's who he is. I'm going to pause it again. So here there's a note on I made in the movie, commenting on the movie, what's his name? 2001 Snake Odyssey. I'm going to make it here as well. So as you heard the sound of the insect, and I explained this in the movie, in commenting on the movie 2001 Space Odyssey, the sound of the insect is the sound of demons. The voice or sound of demons, as stated by that book Necronomicon, or go back to my comment on the movie 2001 Snake Odyssey, and I explained all that. So this has to do with it, that this guy is either so and so, he's a demonic figure, or he's within the presence or at the coven or abode of those creatures, right? Is what is being said here. Okay, I'm gonna pause it to get to the other. And also here you see that emblem. That's pretty obvious what it is. This is something demonic or Masonic or whatever it is. I don't know. He is now in the abode of certain creatures, right? I think that's who they think they are. These are Mel Gibson's folks, probably in the old world, in the Middle East or somewhere. So here what he's saying is they have a guidance from an angel, right? There's an angel in the sky guiding them. All right, so now the final point I'm going to make here. There are many points to make here, really. I mean, the events as they're implied and hinted at and so on. But here, there's a one very important and salient point, if you will, that is incongruent or confirms the 2001 Space Odyssey. It's a testimony, really. So King Arab here is the subject. Give me a second. They have no plans, but they got somebody who can plan. So now, Mr. King Arab, who runs Bartertown, has some goodies, right? Silver, they look like silver or gold, right? And he has a box of them. But those guys behind him, as he turns around, they steal it from him, right? Now he's a gentleman, right? What that is saying is that they're stealing his knowledge and science. So he invented math, he invented calculus, physics, you name it, right? I mean, like really the modern age. But now, I'm going to give you a piece of history. There were some of those Arabs who were, and some Persians, a very minority. They were disgruntled and they didn't like the ego. Remember the ego I just talked about? You know, Tina Turner and Bartek Town. You know, having ego, war of egos. So some really just didn't like the idea that this new religion is so successful, and new mission and life and so on, and bringing about new world and uh, being supported by Allah, you know, and spreading. So they didn't like that. So they started trying to invent things on their own. Some of them called themselves Sufis, right? And mysticism and so on. So they took the framework of Islam and some from it, right? And the thoughts of great scholars, right? You know, in thinking and psychology and you name it, right? And they started weaving bullshit stuff, right? And they called it philosophy. Some Jews actually got on that train, right? This very small VW or rickshaw, you know, of knowledge and pseudoscience and pseudo knowledge and things of the sort, right? And eventually, 300 years later, it hit them. They took that and put it in the names of the Greeks. They call it Greek philosophy at the time. It was really the Sufis and their likes, right, in the Arab world. And they took the great thinking and books and they started weaving bullshit stuff. If you ask me what philosophy is, bullshit. Right? But now, these guys, the brothers of Mel Gibson, you know, this guy and this guy here, and you know they have the hats, right, brimmed hats. While he's not looking, they're stealing that all these sciences and from some, even though they supposedly destroyed it in Baghdad, but there were still some here and there, right? Uh-oh. See, that's his stuff. You know, he got clock, right? The Arabs use their differential calculus to make clocks that are conform to the sun movement and so on and so forth. Oh, they're pretty smart people.
It's gotta be. Get that guard straight.
And he got revelation, right? You know, those books from heavens, that book from heaven and other things.
Still not exactly. The functions
DFXR, Delta Fox X-ray, stands for something. So Rabbi Gibson, the one-eyed monster, knows how to operate that because he lived with in the shadow of Master Blaster. They had schools. They invented schools, police, justice halls, complaint department, sheriff, sharif. You know, we live in their world now. Only it was altered to suit you know who, to suit the Mel Gibsons and the Cougars. Okay, bonjour is French. Now this is them going to Europe, is what they're saying. Now I got a couple of things to say about this here. Rabbi Gibson, we Arabs are midgets. Oh, I think you got your wires crossed or something now. A couple of screws that are loose in your brain, thinking of us like that. I mean, a midget man is creation, you know. To me, a midget man is just like a man, right? You know, he's got some birth defects and so on, but we don't consider them as lower class or as the term itself being midget. We don't consider it or use it as derogatory or defamation or stereotyping or disparagement or scorn on other people. No. We don't do that. We Muslims learn better stuff. So Rabbi Gibson, you know, I say in your heart you know that them Arabs are not no midgets, right? Not in stature, not in thinking. Now here's something. Tina wants the brain, right? The brain, the master. Uh, and guess what? Rabbi Gibson wants the master as well, right? The brain. King Arab, right? Right? What he's trying to say here, Rabbi Gibson, is this King Arab, or us Muslims, Muhammad and so on, we're ruling people that are dumb, right? We're making sure they don't hear us. And when Rabbi Gibson used that whistle, meaning he's like distorting their hearing, right? So they don't hear things anymore. And so he's commencing subversion toward King Arab here. But he doesn't want to kill him, right? Or leave him behind. And there's like a competition between him and Lady Gaga or something on the show. Underground, the dark woman and so on, and poor Masonic guy, that guy with the staff, he got like into a debacle and he was beaten down and tumbled down earth and so on during the battle. I myself am a multiracial, but the Arab side is the prominent side. I'm proud of being human. And thank you, Gibson, for saying that. Thank you, Kubrick, for saying what you're saying. I had no doubt. I always knew, right? But when you say something like this, it's reassuring, The Gibsons have this big complex in their brains, and that's that other half that supposedly the Arabs, their brain, mass, and blah, and ha, and science, and so on. It's been there for thousands of years. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I don't know if this world is going to continue, but that's where we are. Have a nice day, my friends, and I think that's enough comment on this movie. I don't want to make it as lengthy as 2001 Snake Odyssey. But that's precisely whom he's talking about. Dislodging the Arabs, right? First, he teamed up with Tina and her Masonic serf, right? Tina. In Bartertown, and they dropped this Arab, but he kept him. She wanted to keep him, but she kept him. King Arab. And the last thing I want to say, one more note about this embargo. This embargo, oil embargo in 1973, is not what they say it is. We Arabs took the heat and blame for it unjustly. Us doing that is unfounded. Arabs who own that land for thousands and thousands of years, ever since the dawn of history, right? Or man on earth, right? They rightfully own that oil, but they never owned it, right? The guys on the back end, the Mel Gibsons, do own it, and they gave us. They did the embargo, and they made a lot of money out of it, and they gave us credit for that. Now we're hated for it. Oh well, have a nice day, my friends, and this is just an attachment. Bye now.